Hi everyone. So today I'm going to be showing you a little bit of how to edit a photo. Now it's a very complicated process, so this is actually just going to be a few of the basic steps that I take. I own a photography business, but my mom does as well. So I actually don't have any photos unedited to show you, so I'm going to be using one of hers, but it's actually of me. It's an engagement photo of me and my fiance. So I'm going to show you a few basic steps, one of them being the histogram, which is right here, the white balance, which can be adjusted right here, and I can kind of go over what that means, as well as a few little things to go over that a lot of people are looking for to edit. This is useful for a lot of students in general, just because they're basically trying to capture all their moments and memories, and they want to make sure that they're really something to remember. So this will bring out um, basically at the most basic level what your picture can achieve. So we're going to start by looking at the histogram. So this is up here. In the histogram, I could write a book about. So I'm just going to go over a little bit of it. So the darkness is going to be to the left, and then all the lightness is going to be to the right. So in these, you can see when it says down there, whites, highlights, exposure, shadows, and blacks. So what you basically want to do is make sure it's spread out. Like this one's okay because it's pretty spread out. And to be honest with you, I had to kind of dumb down this photo. It was pretty much perfect straight out of camera because my mom is too good at her job. So I had to go in and change the white balance to kind of mess it up a bit for you and change a few more settings just to kind of give you something to look at. So I messed with a little bit, but you can see the histogram is pretty much okay as it is. So when you adjust these, it'll actually adjust these by itself. So you can either, this moves by itself if you want to click and move that around, but you can also toggle these and it'll move it automatically. So we're actually going to look at the white balance first. So the white balance is how warm or cool an image is. So this one I purposely made a little cool so you can really see when it's blue. So cool is blue and then warm would be an orange or a yellow. So this one is blue, so you want to move it over and kind of adjust it to your liking. And if you move it to the middle, it's not guaranteed to be what you're looking for, so you really have to kind of look for it and see. A lot of the times when you have white in your image, you can take this little dropper and drop it on something, and then you can see on the left over here, it kind of gives you a little preview. It doesn't always work, so you can use it loosely. It actually works okay for this photo, but that's usually a good rule of thumb, just to drop it on something that you know is white because it's going to adjust the image to make that color white. So now our white balance is pretty okay. Um, Tint, I usually don't touch tint too much because it can get a little tricky, and usually out of camera it's okay. Um, I touch the exposure just a little bit. So the exposure is how bright and how dark it is. So you can kind of see right about there. So I'm going to leave it a little bit darker so that his hat doesn't wash into the background. Contrast is basically the actual contrast of it. So how dark the darks are and how light the lights are. And you usually want to leave that right in the middle. And now for the sake of this, I'm not going to touch any of these because this is looking okay. And then a lot of people like to use, this is Lightroom, but a lot of people use Lightroom or Photoshop for different blemish removals. So these are the tools for most of that, like red eye and cropping. As for cropping, there's generally a rule of thirds for any photos. So once you click on the cropping, this, if you move this around, you can kind of picture how you want it, but you can see it brings out a grid. So the grid's always going to be in sixes. Um, so the rule of thirds is this is the middle, and then this is the middle, obviously vertically. So you never really want your focus directly in the photo, right in the middle. You want it a little bit to the left or a little bit to the right. And the same goes for, like, his head is exactly where it should be. And this, it doesn't sound like much, but as you see examples, you can see the difference that actually makes to make it visually appealing. So that's pretty much that. And then you can, I don't really think I have anything to edit as far as blemishes go. Zoom in a little closer comfort, but so he's got a little bit of razor burn down here, and we can play with this for a second. So if you adjust the size of the brush right there, and this Lightroom's nice and easy because he's actually, it's being graphed from another part of his neck. So if you move it around, you can kind of get it to where you want to be, and then just press done, and it automatically kind of blends it in for you. So you can pretty much do that with any image for blemishes on the face or discolorations or even flyaway hairs if you have a nice even background like this one does. So that's pretty much it for the basic stuff, and you'll notice like a really large difference in your images from just doing that. And then obviously, as you learn the rules and learn the basics, you can really start adjusting and making it more artistic.